I do not. I do not. I think it's very important for the primary voters to make their choice. And they can't go wrong. We have great candidates in all of our statewide races in 18. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. The meeting of the Ohio Republican State Central and Executive Committee is hereby called to order. I would like to recognize the committeewoman from the 32nd District, Melissa Pope, to offer the invocation.
Thank you. Good morning. Let us pray. We thank you, Lord, for keeping watch over us as we travel here today and for our health. We ask that you continue to watch over us as we travel home and our future travels, and that you continue to provide us with good health in body, heart, mind, and soul. We thank you, Lord, for keeping a safe watch over our first responders, our police, our military, and all those who put their lives on the line to protect us both here and abroad. We pray that you, Lord, will bring each one safely home at the end of their shift. We thank you, Lord, for President Donald Trump, and please watch over him and his family, a family that has and shows us inner strength, courage, and faith. And we send a special prayer asking you, Lord, to keep safe and protect the people of Australia and those who are fighting those terrible fires. In his name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Melissa. I'd like to call upon the committeeman from the 31st District, Doug Wills, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning, everyone. Please join me in the heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I recognize Secretary Marilyn Ashcraft to read the notice of the Republican State Central and Executive Committee of Ohio and to call the roll.
Good morning. On December the 11th, you were sent a notice stating that you are hereby notified the Republican State Central and Executive Committee of Ohio will conduct a meeting at 10 a.m. on Friday, January the 10th at the Sheraton Capitol Square. Rob Campbell. Here. Gina Campbell. Here. Mark Wagner. Here. Dee Talmadge. Joanne Davidson. Gary Cates. Patty Alderson. Steve Bruns. Mary Beth Kemmer. Pat Flanagan. Judy Westbrook. Bob McEwen.
Here.
Michelle Snyder.
Michelle Snyder here. Debbie Anthony here.
Alex.
Here.
Okay. I'm going to start again with Michelle Snyder, Alex Trianopoulos, Marianne Christie, Stanley Aronoff, Crystal Faulkner, Steve Austria, here. Kirsty Lois Cumberford, here. Bill Delaney, Shelley Kennedy, here. Keith Cheney, here. Katie Deland, here. Dave Moore, here. Patty Stein, here. Greg Simpson, Kay Reynolds, Jim Burgess, here. Carolyn Petrie, here. Stephen White, here. Susie O'Brien, here. Phil Bowman, here. Bonnie Ward, here. John Mancini,
Here.
Mary O'Toole, Jack Etheridge,
Here.
Terry Morgan, here. Pat Hennessy, Angela White, Joe Miller, Susan Rodman, Bill Batchelder, Sharon Ray,
Here.
Rob Frost,
Here.
Doris Peters,
Here.
Jack Boyle,
Here.
Nancy Soledani,
Here.
John Popelka,
Here.
Denise Verdi,
Here.
Gary Click,
Here.
Lisa Cooper,
Here.
Brian Williams,
Here.
Lauren Rose, Jim Simon, Debbie Walsh, Kurt Braden, Sarah Brown,
Here.
Jim Carnes, Doug Wills,
Here.
Betty Montgomery, Patrick O'Brien, Melissa Pope,
Here.
Dave Johnson,
Here.
Monica Robb Blaisdell.
Here.
Thank you, Marilyn. The agenda for today's meeting can be found in your folder. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Gary Cates, is there a second? Susie O'Brien. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is adopted. There's a copy of the minutes from our December meeting in your packet. I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and for their approval as presented.
Motion to dispense.
Jim Simon, is there a second? Sarah Brown. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
We can't hear it.
The motion to dispense with the reading of minutes and to accept the minutes as presented is approved. Okay. Now on to new business, the appointment to fill a vacancy. On December 20th, 2019, David Goodman resigned as State Central Committee man from the 3rd District as he now serves in the Governor's Administration. Per our bylaws, we notified the Franklin County Chairman of the vacancy and asked to receive a report of their preference for a replacement. The Franklin County GOP gave their recommendation and are recommending Brad McLeod to represent them in the 3rd District. I recognize Joanne Davison, committeewoman from the 3rd District, for the purpose of a motion to seat Brad McLeod on the State Central and Executive Committee representing the 3rd District. Joanne Davison.
Madam Chairman, I nominate Brad McLeod to take the empty seat of the 3rd Senate District with all the trust in the world because of my work with him. He's just stepped down after 12 years as mayor of Lansing City, Owensboro, Ohio. Prior to that, he served for 12 years as president of council. And in those years, he just did not serve just as an elected official, he did very effectively. So he also took on the responsibility of being sure that Republican candidates countywide, statewide, had an opportunity to be in Owensboro. He and his wife opened their home many times for fundraisers, headed up all the activities, and just made a huge difference as far as taking on the responsibility. Made a huge difference as taking on the responsibility of being assured that Republicans were elected in Franklin County. I can think of no better person to take the seat, and very comfortable in making the nomination that received Brad McLeod as the committee man in the 3rd Senate District for the Ohio Republican Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne Davison. Is there a second? Angela White. Are there any additional names? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is approved. Congratulations, Brad. I'd now like to invite you to come forward to be sworn in as a new member of the Republican State Central and Executive Committee. do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio.
that I will obey
I will obey
the rules and bylaws
the rules and bylaws
of the Republican National Committee
of the Republican National Committee
and the rules and bylaws
and the rules and bylaws
of the Republican State Central
of the Republican State Central
and Executive Committee of Ohio,
and Executive Committee of Ohio.
and I will faithfully
I will faithfully
perform the duties
perform the duties
as State Central Committee Man
as State Central Committee Man
of my district
of my district
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations, Brad. I think we're having an issue with the folks on the phone. Are you able to hear?
Not very well.
Not very well.
Can they hear better when people use the microphones?
Can they hear better if people use the microphones?
Yeah. Hey, we can hear you, but we can't hear anything else.
Okay. So I would say if anyone needs to speak during the meeting, that they come forward and use either the microphones in the center, or Mitch Tully or others will be passing around a handheld microphone to give the courtesy to the folks on the phone so that they can hear the discussion. So at our last meeting, the Ohio Republican State the Republican State Central and Executive Committee passed our endorsement policy guidelines for endorsing in 2020 primary races. A copy of those guidelines can be found in your packets. Per those policy guidelines, we've received and distributed lists for potential endorsements in the General Assembly, and we will also consider endorsements for President and U.S. Congress. Before we get started, I want to thank all of our Central Committee members for engaging in this process. Potential endorsements often create a heated and tense environment, but my talks with all of you leading up to today have been substantive and thoughtful, and I'm sure today's discussion will remain that way. We do have quite a few endorsements to go through, so I would ask your patience of everyone as we go through these. We want to hear from everyone, but we also want to maintain a sense of order while we do this. If you would like to make a comment or a motion, during this process, please wait for the microphones. It's a courtesy to everyone in the room and on the phone, and so we can make sure that everyone is fully heard. We will take these endorsements in the order they are listed on the agenda. I recognize Bonnie Ward for the purpose of the motion to endorse for President of the United States.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure. I have the pleasure of introducing or endorsing Donald J. Trump for the President of the United States. Thank you.
Is there a second? Gary Quick. There's been a motion and a second to endorse Donald J. Trump for the presidency of the United States. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is adopted. The Ohio Republican Moving on to incumbent members of the U.S. Congress, I now recognize Keith Cheney for the purpose of the motion to endorse our incumbent members of the U.S. House of Representatives.
Chairman, I motion to endorse our incumbent members of the United States House of Representatives.
Is there a second? John, go
We
ahead.
couldn't hear.
Oh, did they hear the motion? We currently have a motion pending to endorse our incumbent U.S. House of Representatives. There's been a motion by Keith Cheney and a second by John Pavelka. Is there any discussion?
Who are we voting on? We can't hear.
I just have a question. I would like to know whether or not any of those candidates are contested.
Some are,
Some are.
yes.
Can you tell us which ones are? Okay.
So we have the motion to endorse our incumbent, and there's Gary Case.
Speak into the microphone.
I move to add Nate Balderson for the 12th district.
I think it was a typo.
Second agenda.
Okay, there's been a second. Any further discussion of the motion as amended? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, the motion to amend has been passed. We currently have the motion to endorse our incumbent U.S. House of Representatives on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion to endorse our incumbent members of the U.S. Congress as amended is hereby approved. Moving on to non-incumbent candidates for the U.S. Congress. We do not have a slate of candidates for non-incumbent candidates for U.S. Congress. However, if there are members of the committee who feel strongly about candidates for Congress, now is the time for those feelings and that position to be taken. Is there any motion or discussion?
Point of order. I'm mindful that we have a lot to get through, and I'm mindful that there's a lot of passion around these issues, and I wonder whether we might consider having time limits for debate on the particular pieces that we're going to go through. I might suggest maybe 5 minutes per debate per item that you're going through, because I'm mindful of the fact that we could easily go into hours and hours, and then we could always make a motion to extend debate if that would be needed.
So you're making
I will
a
make that
motion.
motion, Madam Chair.
Is there a second? Sarah Brown, second that motion. So there's a motion on the floor for a time limit on debate to 5 minutes per endorsement. Okay. And is there any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The motion to limit debate to 5 minutes per endorsement has been approved. Okay. So moving on, we are now on to non-incumbent candidates for the U.S. Congress. Is there any motion from any committee member for the endorsement of a non-incumbent candidate for U.S. Congress? Jack.
Chairman, I nominate Laverne Gore to be the endorsed candidate, Republican candidate in the 11th district in Cuyahoga and Summit counties.
Okay. Is there a second? Joe Miller? Okay. Joe. Any discussion?
Contested race question?
Yes, it is. And I'd like to remind the committee members that this endorsement requires a 2/3 vote of the committee, but we can have a vote before we vote. So there's a motion on the floor to endorse Laverne Gore in the 11th Congressional District. It has been made by Jack Boyle and seconded by Joe Miller. Is there any discussion? Pardon me?
Should we discuss her?
I think someone's speaking on the phone.
You're not knowing anything about that.
doesn't allow description of the candidate.
Okay. This is, first of all, this is the race against Marcia Fudge. Andrew White, yes.
Members of the committee, Laverne Gore is a lifelong Republican and a lifelong resident of the district of Clermont County. She has a degree in economics from the Clermont colleges and 3 graduate degrees, has worked as a healthcare consultant, has been a candidate, has run a group called the Ohio University Coalition in the district, which has done food drives and clothing drives, has a very high profile, is very sensitive of the fact that this is a district which has a majority of minority residents, and we believe that she has also been a very, very, very vocal supporter of the president. Has done a radio show on a station that provides programming to the African American community in Northeast Ohio, and in all disclosure, I've been co-host on that show for almost 3 years. She has had lots of approaches, frankly, from the Democrats in the district who are very unhappy with their current representation about, would she represent them, and she said she'll be glad to represent them as a Republican. So I strongly urge the committee to make this endorsement. She is the person that has a real chance in reaching these voters that the president has talked about when he said during the 2016 campaign to African American voters, what have you got to lose? Many of them were listening, and they still are. They've been listening to our radio show, frankly, and to Laverne, and I believe she gives us a real prospect of stealing a seat that no one would think would be competitive.
Any further discussion?
I'm Mary Beth Cameron, the committee woman from the 5th District, and I know we're going to vote today on endorsements. I'm against that. I'm going to vote no on contested races. While I do believe that the State Central Committee should endorse the President, the U.S. Senate, and governor's races, the Ohio Supreme Court, any other state races, I think we do have a duty to endorse those. This is my first term on the State Central Committee, and I've met some lovely people here, but I don't want them choosing who represents me. I'm a Republican. I believe in individual freedom and individual responsibility. The Democrats say, I know what's best for you, then proceed to make decisions that should have been left to the individual. I believe that is demeaning and even insulting when that happens. I know what's best for me and mine. How can the State Central Committee know more about a Miami County candidate than I do? I can only recognize a couple of names on a list sent to me. I don't know about you, but maybe it's just because I'm a newbie. How can I, in good conscience, go to endorse people that I don't know, or somebody that I don't know? Smacks of a smoke-filled room to me. As Republicans, we know that power comes from the people, not from the government. And I want to believe that the caucus has vetted all these people, and I believe they want what's best for each locale. But I've been around a while, and lots of times when people say this is going to be good for you, it's often even better for them. I am really against us voting for local candidates at this level when we don't know them. I appreciate you joining me in voting no on these contested endorsements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Any other discussion? Doris Beers. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, I would,
Denise Terry.
I wish that there would have been notation of who was contested on this list, but I just wanted to speak as far as the District 11, Laverne, and I helped a candidate the last term for Republicans to run it. It was like a David and Goliath thing. And, you know, we should not minimize these people that come to represent the Republican Party in these type of districts. And I would really love for us to to rally around them, especially to go against someone like Marsha Fudge. They need support. It was an insurmountable task, for just someone that's a patriot that doesn't have the money and the funds, but has the heart and has the drive and has the love for their community. So, kudos goes to Laverne that wants to throw her hat in the ring in enemy camp per se, and for us to get behind her, and those likewise for those in the state. But I'm just speaking in behalf of Laverne. I don't know her very much personally, but I do support what was being said about her. So we all, as a community here, really need to back people such as that, so we can have a fighter's chance. That would make a huge difference in our state. And as far as the contested incumbents with what was just said prior, I have been actually thinking the very same thing. I would really like to see the platforms of those that are running against so that we can make an informed decision. Thank you. Jim. Oh, I'm sorry, Doris.
Yeah, I just want to, all of you up there, but I just want to say, I know Laverne Gore very well, and she would be, she's a spectacular Republican. She can reach out to the minorities in that district. I just want to go along with what was said also previously, that we've got to get behind these people that are willing to stick their necks out in a district that is just highly democratic. And we need to support her and give her an opportunity, a chance to win in that district. She's also a delegate for Trump, and she will do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Really need to support her.
Thank you. Doris Peters.
Thank you, Chairman. Members of the committee, I've lived in Cleveland for over 35 years. Many of my neighbors are minorities, and I've known Laverne for over 10 years. She is a strong Republican, and she knows how to reach the minority community in Cuyahoga and Summit County, and I urge you to support her endorsement. She's a very well-educated woman, well-spoken woman. She goes out of her way to help other people in District 11, and we need to support her. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. Okay, there's a motion on the floor to endorse Laverne Gore for the 11th U.S. Congress. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that. For the U.S. Congress for the 11th District. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. It is the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it. The motion to endorse Laverne Gore for the U.S. Congress for the 11th District has been approved. Are there any other U.S. congressional races for discussion or motion? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on our agenda to the Ohio Senate. Working with Republican Senate Campaign Committee, with the Republican Senate Campaign Committee, President Ossoff has submitted 3 slates of candidates for endorsement in the Ohio Senate. We will take up each race separately. I now recognize Keith Cheney for a motion.
Chairman, I move to endorse the incumbent slate for Ohio State Senate.
Is there a second? Gary Cates. Any discussion? Lisa Cooper?
I move to amend that motion by removing Terry Johnson, who is a contested race.
There's an amendment to remove Terry Johnson. Is there a second? Okay, there's been a second by Jim Burgess. Any discussion? Kay Reynolds?
I have been Dr. Terry Johnson's campaign treasurer for 8 years. He served 8 years as state rep. He did an awesome job. When this position was open, they interviewed, I think there were 5 people that applied for the position, the leadership of the state senate. Dr. Johnson was selected to represent the district. Terry's opponent is a convicted felon. He also has served as, prior to this, he served as county commissioner in Clermont County. He also, that's Terry's opponent, he was also county commissioner and chair of their party. I would like to speak on Dr. Johnson's morality. He is a conservative. He represents all people in this district, which is 5 counties.
Okay. Thank you, Kay. Any further discussion? Okay. So there is a motion to amend to remove Terry Johnson from the slate of incumbent senatorial candidates. Yes, Denise.
My remark on this is a perfect example of what would be really helpful for us as a community to know specifics about these names here. That fact is really important to me. And the fact about the opponent is very important to me. There's a way, this would be really helpful for us to have more detail than just a name for some of these people. So that's just my comment. I just want that for the record.
Sure, and I think that as you've seen, those who know these candidates best on the committee have spoken for on their behalf. So there's a motion to remove Terry Johnson from the list of endorsed incumbent state senate candidates. Any further discussion? Steve Burns.
My only concern is that if we're going to endorse, that we endorse that are not contested. It seems kind of unfair to me when you get somebody that's been in office, and it's going up against this little guy, little gal, and they really don't have an opportunity, they don't have a chance. I think we should let that play out in their area, and then I have no problem endorsing anybody that's not contested.
Thank you, Steve. Any further discussion? So the motion as amended is to remove Terry Johnson from the list of the endorsed, remove Terry Johnson from the slate of incumbent state senate candidates for endorsement.
Jane?
Yes.
Jane Bob McEwen.
Hi, Bob.
Okay.
Yes.
Concerning the question about Dr. Johnson, a little bit of what Dave said, but that right district that was Democrat for over 50 years. He's a physician that worked diligently with the party and its character and served his complete term being reelected being permanent out and then turned it over to a Republican again for the first time in half a century. So he's a really quality guy. So putting his background on Dr. Johnson is very confident. There's none better in our party.
Thank you, Bob. Any further discussion? Okay. So the motion on the table is the motion to remove Terry Johnson from the list of the slate of incumbent state senate candidates for endorsement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No. No.
It is the opinion of the chair that the motion to remove Terry Johnson from the slate of endorsed incumbent state senate candidates has failed. Now on to the original motion. The motion was to endorse our incumbent members of the Ohio State Senate. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion to endorse our incumbent members of the Ohio State Senate, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? The motion to endorse our incumbent members of the Ohio State Senate is hereby approved.
Madam Chair, I have just a quick question for the board. I missed this, but I see on the agenda there is to be a policy check. Wait, I'm sorry. I was just asking a point of order. I see that on the agenda there was a report from the policy review committee. Maybe I was sleeping when that happened, but if that does not happen, are we still expecting that, or is that being waived?
That is part of our agenda, but that's what we're having that discussion now.
Okay, so there's no report.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Okay. We are now moving on to uncontested, non-incumbent state senate candidates. I recognize Keith Cheney for a motion.
Chairman, I move to endorse the uncontested, non-incumbent slate for the Ohio State Senate.
Is there a second? I didn't see a second. Stevens. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. It is the opinion of the chair that the motion to endorse our uncontested non-incumbent candidates for Ohio Senate has been hereby approved. Okay, now we're on to contested non-incumbents. I hereby recognize Keith Cheney for a motion.
Chairman, I move to endorse the contested, non-incumbent slate for Ohio State Senate.
There's this endorsed by, moved by Gary, second by Gary Case. Any discussion? Jim Burgess.
How are we doing nominations from the floor?
What was the question?
How are we doing nominations from the floor?
So the motion right now is the motion to endorse the slate of contested non-incumbents.
Okay.
And if someone chooses to, they can move to amend that motion. To add, subtract, whatever. What would you like to do? We'll help you do it.
Well, the last time I remember doing this was we would say, you know, hey, in this race, we want to also nominate someone else, and it became, like we did it 2 years ago with the governor and there was nominations from the floor.
Right. And so we are not doing, we have a slate of candidates this time because, how many candidates do we have?
We had a slate of candidates for the General Assembly last time.
We had a slate of candidates for the General Assembly. And we didn't, so we took it as a slate. And we are not going to have, because we won't, we won't have nominations from the floor. What we can do is amend the slate.
So,
if you want to add someone or take someone off that slate, you can make that motion.
what I want to do is ends up with a head-to-head race if it's approved. I want to nominate so that there's a competition in here, not a slate being voted on. Does that make sense?
Are you talking about a particular individual Senate race, or are you talking about the entire?
I actually have nominations for all four Senate races that are contested.
Okay, so we'll take one at a time. So we have our slate. So take the first person that you would want to, either the motion would be to endorse that candidate, or actually, excuse me, correct, I misspoke. Either to remove the person who's been identified on that list, or you can move to remove that person and add another person.
Okay. Is that now?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to start with District 4. And I've got one for, I think the 28th ended up being non-contested, right? For my research, the 28th district ended up being a non-contested race, actually.
You might be right.
That is correct.
All right, so we start with District 4. I'm, I guess, making a motion to nominate Candace Keller for that race.
So make the motion to remove George Lang and add.
Okay, I'm making a motion to move George Lang and add Candace Keller for that race.
Okay. All right, so the motion on the floor by Jim Burgess is to remove George Lang from the slate of contested non-incumbent candidates that we got from the Senate committee. Is there a second? There's no second, so the motion fails for lack of a second.
I guess this is a quick roundup. District 66, I'm making a motion to move Neeraj and making a motion to add Rachel Selby.
Okay, there is a motion by Jim Burgess to remove Niraj Tani, I assume, from the slate and to add whom?
Rachel Selby.
Rachel Selby. Is there a second? Okay, the motion fails for lack of a second.
Keep going. I'd like to make a motion for District 22 to remove Mark Roman from the list and nominate Corey Brennan.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor to remove Mark Romanchuk from the slate and to add Corey Brennan. Is there a second? The motion fails for lack of a second.
And the last one, District 26, I make a motion to remove Bill Ranke from the slate and adding Melissa Atkinson to it.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to remove Bill Reineke from the slate and to add Melissa Atkinson to the slate. Is there a second? The motion fails for lack of a second. Okay. Moving on to the original motion, there's a motion on the floor to endorse the slate of non-incumbent contested U.S. State Senate candidates. I'm sorry. Jim Simon.
In consulting with former Attorney General and Debbie Walsh, it appears as though Mike Downey, who is listed as being a contested non-incumbent, is actually, well, Downey should be Downey, and he's also he's a non-contested non-incumbent, so I believe the list that we were given should also include Mr. Downey. So if you could please confirm that.
The list we received from the Senate caucus had Mike Downey on the contested list, so that's what we submitted.
Understood, but I believe that we understand that he's now uncontested.
I believe that is correct as well.
Okay, so do we need a motion to amend the motion to include Mr. Downey on the uncontested non-incumbent list?
I would
Yes,
like
let's-
to communicate that we can pass him through this slate. It doesn't matter if he's on the contested list or not.
There's no significance,
Well, my only
but
concern
just
was-
procedural. So let's get through this motion, and then Jim, if you want to make a motion to amend that motion, I think that's the cleaner way to do this. Okay. So Jim, our trusty legal counsel gave me better advice. And of course, I think you were right in the first place. I think
You want to trade seats, Jim?
So, if you would you make a motion to remove Mr. Downey from the slate of contested non-incumbent Senate candidates?
Madam Chairman, you very well stated my motion, so moved.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that we move Mr. Downey, so we correct the spelling of his name, but also move him from this list to the previously endorsed list.
We will do that. We will reconsider that prior motion. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye. Greg Simpson, aye.
Okay. The motion to remove Mr. Downey from the slate of from contested, non-incumbent Senate candidates has been approved. Okay, now we are on to the original motion as amended, which is to endorse the slate of contested, non-incumbent state Senate candidates. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Well, do you want to vote? Someone needs to call for division. Okay, Katie Deland calls for division. Which means we have a paper ballot. Oh, we could do stand, and then we will take from the phone, they'll have to say yea or nay. So the motion on the floor is to endorse the slate of non-incumbent contested state Senate candidates. There's been a call for division because there's a question as to the majority vote. Katie Deland has called for that division. So now we will have a vote in favor, and you can stand. So those in favor of the motion, please signify yea by standing. Okay, this is a motion in favor of endorsing the slate.
I'm sorry, Jane. Which slate are we voting on?
This is the slate of non-incumbent contested state Senate races. Okay, Rob Seifert is going to count.
Madam Chairman, I believe this is
It's fine.
committeeman only, please.
We'll slide back. I just want to
She's fine. Okay. Now I need answers from those on the phone. Are there any yays from the?
All right. For the folks on the phone, I'll call the names. So just if you're a yes or a no, just let me know, and I will indicate that. This is the motion to endorse the contested non-incumbents for the Ohio State Senate. And if I miss you, I will circle back on the back end. So Mark Wagner.
Yes.
Bob McEwen.
No.
Michelle Schneider.
Yes.
John Mancini.
No.
Mary O'Toole.
No.
Sharon Ray.
Abstain.
Rob Frost. Rob Frost. Nancy Sivadonik.
Yes.
Kurt Brady.
Yes.
Was there anyone on the phone that I missed?
Greg Simpson.
Hang on a second. Greg Simpson. I heard Greg Simpson.
Yes.
Greg Simpson is a yes. Come on. Patty Alderson.
Yes.
Was there anyone else I missed on the phone? Rob, yes. Yes or no, Rob?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, here.
And I'm being told Gary Case did not stand up during the original call, but he has indicated to the chair that he is a yes vote for this.
That's the yes, so.
I'm sorry, who is that?
Accuracy.
Oh, Pat Hennessy. I was going to type it. Okay. Those in opposition to the motion in the room, please stand.
Hey, Mayor. Yes. It's, yes, Mandel, uncontested.
No, but why she's running again, he can't wait.
Did we endorse her?
She's on the list, yes, I'm not gonna fight her, it is a list. I mean, you still have to listen.
We can hear you on the phone.
Oh, sorry.
According to Rob Seafar's calculations, the motion passes 32 yeas, 19 nays. So the motion to endorse the uncontested non-incumbent members of the Ohio Senate has been approved. Now we are on to the House of Representatives. I recognize Keith Cheney for a motion.
Chairman, I move to endorse the incumbent slate for Ohio House of Representatives.
Is there a second? Gary Case, second. Any discussion? Yes. You can.
I'm Katie DeLand. I think it's an important note to make. I've heard all of your testaments to your local candidates, and I think that's why it's so important. All politics are local. Many of us in this room are chairmen of our own county parties, and you know that that voice is closest to your voters. In life, I think politics aside, in all industries across spectrum, the more someone tries to manipulate the system, the more it backfires, and I think that's what we're getting ourselves into here. So we need to reconsider our positions. I don't know if it's going to change any votes from the previous vote, but it's just something to consider. Because again, I value your opinions, and I know that you represent your district best, and I believe that the voters will follow suit.
The motion on the floor is to endorse incumbent Ohio House members. Any further discussion? Please be heard.
I was told that there are 6 people on this list that are a contested race. I would like to move to remove those, and I can give you the list of those. That would be District 1, Scott Wiggum, District 43, Todd Smith, District 70th, Darrell Kick, 71st, Mark Frazier, 76th, Diane Grendel, and 93rd District, Jason Stevens. So I would like to amend the motion by removing those names and just voting on the rest of them.
Okay. I need to find out if there's a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Steve Brown's has seconded it. Okay, Dave Johnson, discussion.
Madam Chairman, Dave Johnson, can you tell me if you've seen these contested races, is there local party support of the individuals that are there's no local party support?
Clermont County, I know doesn't even meet until the 21st.
Can't hear it.
Yeah, okay, if you're gonna speak, can you speak to the microphone? Sorry.
I know that Clermont County doesn't even meet to endorse until the 21st, and that's the J. Todd Smith. So I don't know what Clermont County wants right now.
Okay.
Are there any others?
There is no party support.
93, Jason Stevens is the former party chair in Lawrence County. He also was a longtime auditor. He gave up the state seat to take the state representative seat. Lawrence County has not met yet, but he will be endorsed.
I guess my concern is being a party chairman. I think all party politics is local, and I'm concerned that we would have a caucus endorsing someone who would be in conflict with who the local party is endorsing. So in the case of these contested races, if the committees haven't even met yet, I have a problem with it. I believe in endorsements, but I don't want to see the caucuses in conflict with the parties.
And just so,
What's that?
point of information, these are the incumbent candidates. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. So the motion on the floor is to remove from the slate of incumbent State House candidates from District 1, District 43, District 70, District 71, District 76, and District 93. And I apologize, and Steve seconded. Any other discussion?
Chairman, I do have a couple things I'd like to say. As a 26-year serving chairman of a county party, I understand the role of the county party, but I also understand the role of the state central committee. More importantly, I understand the role of the state senate and state house caucus and the leadership of which I truly respect. I remember the days when we did not have the majority of both houses, and I remember the things that were levied against us. That leadership has done a wonderful job at vetting candidates, putting together a slate of candidates that has been able to win across the state of Ohio and thus give us a majority in that house. And I think that it's vitally important that we stand by our conviction, as we did when we voted for the state senate slate, that we do the same thing with the Ohio House slate. I am very concerned that, and I understand the comments that were made, and I respect everybody that has made their comments, but I also respect the fact of, I remember the county, one of 88 that has made their voice most known, also did not vote to endorse United States setting Senator Rob Portman. So I think, my goal is to defeat the Democrats and have Republican victories come November, ultimately that support a conservative Republican agenda and support our President of the United States. So I'm going to continue to stand by my conviction to offer this motion as I have offered, and to put my trust and faith in the House leadership, the same as this committee, virtue by vote, supported the Senate slate of officers. Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Any further discussion? So the motion on the floor is to amend and remove from the slate of incumbent State House candidates from District 1, District 43, District 70, District 71, District 76, and District 93. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
The no, it is the opinion of the chair that the noes have that the motion has failed. Okay, we are now on to the motion to endorse the slate of incumbent state of Ohio House representatives. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is passed. The motion to endorse our incumbent members of the Ohio House of Representatives is approved. Now moving on to uncontested non-incumbents. I recognize Keith Cheney for a motion.
Chairman, I move to endorse the contested non-incumbent slate for Ohio House of Representatives.
Did you say uncontested?
Uncontested, I apologize.
Second.
Gary Cates is second. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of a motion to endorse the uncontested non-incumbent slate for the Ohio House of Representatives signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Are you voting no? Okay. It is the opinion of the chair that the motion to endorse our incumbent non-contested Ohio House of Representatives candidates has been approved. Okay, now we're on to contested non-incumbents. I recognize Keith Cheney for a motion.
Chairman, I move to endorse the contested non-incumbent slate for Ohio House of Representatives.
Gary Cates is second. Discussion. Oh, John Pell.
I move to amend, to add the 88th House District, one of our own, Gary Glick, for a state rep. Gary has been endorsed by the 7 biggest communities in that district. It's also very unique that he is part of this body for many years, so all we have gotten a chance to know him. He would make an excellent choice in the 88th. So I wanted to add Gary from the 88th House District.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion? Lauren LaRose. So there's been a motion to amend the slate of contested non-incumbent State House representative candidates. Any further discussion?
Please repeat that.
All those in favor of the motion to amend to add Gary Click to the slate of state representative candidates that are contested non-incumbent, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? It is the opinion of the chair that the motion to amend and add Gary Click to the slate of state representative candidates that are contested non-incumbent has passed. Now to the original motion to endorse the contested non-incumbent slate for the Ohio House of Representatives. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Aye. Is there anyone? I think there's a vote. I think the ayes have it. Yes, I'm sorry.
I had an amendment to remove Brian Lanton from the 73rd District.
Oh,
I voted and I lost where you were. We got kind of confused because we wanted to remove, we were doing the amendment and then we voted quick and we had to amend to remove the 73rd District.
If you make a motion to reconsider, because we are at the voting, so make a motion to reconsider the original motion.
Okay, I make a motion to reconsider the original motion.
Okay, so that needs a second.
Second.
It's been seconded. All those in favor of a motion to reconsider signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The motion to reconsider has passed.
Thank you. So I'm moving to make an amendment to remove, for the 73rd District, Brian Lampton from the list. It is a contested race in our county. It's a close race. They're both good candidates. However, I do believe our county supports the other candidate. I'm not proposing to put him on the list. I just want to remove the 73rd District from the endorsement.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a second to the motion to remove Brian Lampton from the list of the slate of contested non-incumbent Ohio House of Representative candidates.
What county?
Any discussion? If you guys, I know the people on the phone, they need to hear you.
Greene County.
Madam Chair? Yeah, my question is, did the local county party endorse the other candidate?
We have not endorsed anyone yet. We have not endorsed anyone yet. Our meeting is next week. So I don't want either one of them endorsed. We've not chosen yet.
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Bob McEwen, is that right, Bob?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I guess the movement is such that we're going to make individual changes. I actually think that being involved in non-incumbent contested races at the state level really shouldn't be doing that. But let me go ahead and take the 65th and 66th district, both of whom the candidates in those two races were overwhelmingly 3 and 4 to 1 endorsed by the local party in the 65th district and in the 66th in Clermont County. And there is strong sentiment for those folks. I think they're going to win. These two names that were submitted here on this list, I don't think are going to win, but I don't think that the state party should be involved. Wednesday evening, I was with Brian.
Bob?
And Steve Scalise. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. So Bob, if you want to remove those from the slate, if you could make that motion after we give due consideration to the motion that is currently on the floor.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
No, that's okay. You can come back. So the motion is to remove Brian Lampton from the slate of contested non-incumbent members of the Ohio House of Representatives. Any further discussion?
Clarification.
Yes.
Could Mr. McEwen move to amend the amendment to add those two names to this one name that's already on the amendment so that the ultimate vote would be to remove 3 names?
Okay. So we've tried to do them individually for clarification's sake, but if there's the will of the committee to add to this list to remove, we can do that. Right. We could have one vote to remove more people from the list or one vote to add. Bob, do you want to make that motion? Are you on?
No, I'll just take mine alone, 65.
You want to take yours alone? Okay.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
This is Greg Simpson of the 14th. I concur with with Bob. We spoke about this, but you guys are cutting in and out on the phones. I'm just letting you know what I think here.
So, Greg, I'll come back to both you and Bob.
Currently, we have a motion on the floor individually to remove Brian Lampton from the list of the contested non-incumbent Ohio House of Representative candidates. So all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Brian Lampton has been removed. That motion passes. Okay, Bob, would you like to make your motion?
Yeah, and the same principle applies. I should refer to the chairman of the party in Clermont County where they overwhelmingly endorse their candidates, excellent candidates, because 66th district, Adam Bird and Bill were both in the loop there today. And I would move that the people should be allowed to choose their candidate on their own, and the state party should not interfere in this non-contested act. I just, aside, I said, Wednesday, I was with Greg Winter and Steve Gleason, and when the observation was made, the Steve was not, who was going to be the majority leader of the House next year, would not be alive. Brad West had not been able to call out and protect the top of the meeting as second baseman. He was shot during the ball practice. And then we went back to the next step, the state party endorsed Brad West, and that had the district not overridden the state party, that how things would have been different. And then it got how many people were offended that the state party told them they shouldn't have Brad West as their Congress. So in thinking about that, I just thought about this right here. We really should get our nose with Greg. I think that Greg can speak on behalf of the party, but I think the voters should be able to choose their candidates. Then, once they've done that, then the state party does have to do everything we can to elect Republicans successful. So I'll move that those 67 and 66 districts, those names be removed and let the people decide.
Okay, it's been seconded by Shelley Kennedy. Any further discussion?
Chairman, I have a question I would like to know. In the 65th and 66th out.
Express my sentiments exactly.
Greg, Greg Simpson. Greg, we'll come back to you. We're dealing with Bob McEwen's motion.
Are these individual county seats for those house seats? I don't believe they are.
I think one is and one is not.
So therefore, I go back to my original statement that now we're going to have one county who evidently has endorsed an individual control other counties that may not have voted to endorse or may have endorsed the other individual. So therefore, I go back to my same position that we should entrust the leadership of the House, which the motion originally passed on this floor, that we should support the leadership of our House and the recommendations of that they have set forth. I'm sure there are many reasons why they have done so, and I don't believe that we allow one county to control other counties, or their argument is vague.
Gary Cates.
Thank you, Chair. I know there's a lot of different opinion on this. Let me offer this to you. Having been a former member of both the House and the Senate, I believe the task that was asked for the state party here was to endorse candidates pursuant to the list of names submitted by the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate. Whatever this state party decides to do in the way of endorsements has nothing to do with what a local county party does. A political county party is a political entity. This is a political entity. And it doesn't mean that the same political entities have to agree on candidates. Mr. McEwen made a very good point. At the end, the voters make the final decision. They're the ones that cast the ballot on election day. But I think it's responsibility of county parties, and it's responsibility of the state party here to endorse those they feel make the best candidate moving forward to November. Let's remember that the end game here is who has a majority in the House and the Senate at the end of the election year here. And I certainly want to give the governor and the Republican Party the strongest hands possible to make sure that we get the Republican agenda promoted through Ohio here. So there comes a time here where we can respect and yield to county parties, but this is a time I think we yield and respect the leadership of the House and Senate in saying this, that they have gone through the list of candidates as who they recommend. So I oppose the amendment and support the original motion.
Yes.
Are we considering 66 and 65 right now?
That is the motion that's currently on the floor. To remove them from the list.
I respect the concern about multi-county districts, and I would agree with you. But in the case of the 65th district, it's my understanding that's a single county district. And the young man that was endorsed by his county at 65% of the central committee's support to be endorsed. He's a very impressive young man. He called me, and I looked at his background, and I would vote against. I will vote to have him endorsed, and that's in the case of Dills in the 65th district. So how do I do that?
Okay. I think the best thing to do is for us to have a vote on the removal list.
Okay.
And then we can come back on to the additions list.
Okay.
So you want me to go back to this? Okay, so now we are dealing with the removal list. So Greg, it's your floor.
Okay, just a moment, simply overwhelmingly in the district. This is Clermont County. The 66 round in Clermont. So last round endorsed another candidate other than Adam Byrne, but Mr. Bill was endorsed overwhelmingly.
Madam Chairman, point of order.
Yes.
I believe we adopted a motion to take debate to 5 minutes, and so I'm going to move that we call the question and vote on the amendment.
Thank you. The question's been called. The motion on the floor is to remove the candidates from the 65th and the 66th district from the list of contested non-incumbent candidates for the Ohio House of Representatives. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Aye.
It is the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it. The motion to amend to remove the candidates from the contested non-incumbent list for Ohio House of Representatives from the 65th and 66th district has hereby been approved. Now, Dave.
May I ask, is the chairman from Clermont County going to make a statement about the 65th district?
Yes, I am.
I'll yield to you.
Thank you, sir. 65th district was entirely inside Clermont County. Mr. Dills did win that overwhelmingly, and so that's Mr. Buell and I talked about this, and a few others, and talked to Brian Williams about this. So that's just a fact that they did win it overwhelmingly.
So are you making a motion?
That was a motion already made.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Yes.
We just voted on because we just voted to remove the 65th and 66.
We removed those candidates that were on the slate, so they've been removed. And now I believe, Greg, correct me if I'm wrong, your motion is to add the name of Joe Dills to the 65th district for endorsement.
That is correct.
And I second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion for the addition of Joe Dills as the endorsed candidate for the 65th district for the Ohio House of Representatives, please, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? No. It is the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it, that motion is passed. Any other additions the main motion. Okay. Okay. So we need to reconsider the motion to endorse the contested non-incumbents as amended. Do I need a motion for it? Any additional discussions to that original motion? Okay. All right. All those in favor of the motion, the original motion as amended for the contested non-incumbents, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. It's the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it. Motion passes. Okay, and now, oh yes, I'm sorry, Jim.
Sure, thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a motion to reconsider the motion that was previously adopted with respect to uncontested, non-incumbent state senate candidates to add for the 28th district, Mike down Lee, not down in.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motions, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Oh, the motion, I'm sorry. I'm getting tired. Now we have to vote on the original motion, on the motion to add Mr. Downey as corrected to the list of uncontested non-incumbents. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. Okay. Now we are on to incumbent state central committee members. I recognize Keith Cheney for the purpose of a motion.
Chairman, I motion to endorse all incumbent members of the Republican State Central Committee.
Is there a second? Joanna Davidson? Any discussion? Susie O'Brien.
I know that the motion was all the state central committee members, but I noticed that our new member is not on here.
Technically, he's an incumbent.
Okay, so that's why I thought it was covered under all, but I just want to make sure that was covered.
Okay. So if you want to make that motion, you include it specifically. McLeod.
I'd like to make the motion to include Brad Cloud from District 3.
Is there a second? Seconded by Joanne Davidson. All those in favor to include Brad McLeod to the list of incumbent state central committee members, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The motion to amend to include Brad McLeod to the list of incumbent state central committee members has been approved. Okay. Now, the original motion. The motion on the floor is to endorse the incumbent state central committee members. Any further discussion? Steve Bruns.
I don't want to upset anybody, but I honestly believe this again is a county thing. And if I can't hold my central committee chair in my area, I don't deserve to have it. So I honestly think that this should not be, we should not be doing this. We should let the people in your area decide.
Doris Peters.
I just have a secretarial point of order, I guess. I'm going by my name, just have my name listed as Doris Peters.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that? I think it's good. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion to endorse, oh, I'm sorry, Melissa.
Just a quick clarification. Pat O'Brien is not the state central right now. And we have Casey O'Brien listed on the incumbents, just asking for an explanation.
Oh, it's probably, I don't know. It's supposed to be Pat, for sure. Could you possibly make a motion to correct that? So we have-
I would like to make a motion to correct it and put Pat O'Brien, although Pat O'Brien is not, I believe he is not running. I believe his son is running instead. Yes. But he's not an incumbent, just a technicality, that's all.
Yeah. Make
Make a motion to remove.
a motion to remove him then.
I would like to make a motion to remove Casey O'Brien.
Is there a second? Lisa Cooper, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion to amend Pat carries. Now back to the original motion to endorse all incumbent members of the Republican State Central Committee. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? It is the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it, the motion to endorse all incumbent members of the Republican State Central Committee has been approved. Yes.
I'd like to move reconsideration of the previous motion about regards to household members contested non-incumbents. I'd like to have that motion reconsidered.
You'd like that motion to be reconsidered?
I would further propose that this body not endorse any contested non-incumbent races.
Okay. You've got a motion to reconsider, in which is this in, could you please clarify in which slate?
This is the slate of the Ohio House of Representatives contested non-incumbents. I move to reconsider the endorsement, and I would further move, as appropriate, that this body not endorse any of the candidates on that list of House of Representatives contested non-incumbents.
From the House list. Okay. So there's a motion to reconsider, and we need a second. Steve Oster has seconded it. Any discussion?
We've already voted on this. Why are we voting on it again?
Because Gary Cates, he's made a motion to reconsider.
Well, what's the reason? Do you have an argument?
Yes, my argument is I have a further motion to not endorse any of those races for any of those people. If we're going to pick and choose, we'll see if you all or none.
Okay, that motion to reconsider has been made and seconded. All those in favor of the motion to reconsider signify by saying aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
It is the opinion of the chair that the motion to reconsider has failed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to serve that on Congress call.
Okay. Whew. All right. Now, and first of all, thank you all for your patience in all of this. I think I hope you all felt that this was a robust discussion, that everyone had their voices heard. I think we had the opportunity to be very respectful of all's opinion, and now we just need to win all these races. The treasurer's report. I'd like to recognize Dave Johnson, who's our treasurer.
I'm going to give an abbreviated treasurer's report because we just met 2 months ago and the numbers have only gotten better. And so I want to just state that in the interest of time, I want to say that we are pleased to report that we met the 2019 year with a good balance of cash on hand, a strong collections of high-dollar donors, a robust direct mail program, and a wide base of low-dollar donors. Additionally, we've already initiated our first direct mail fundraiser in 2020. We're continuing to expand our digital fundraising through email and social media, and we have our first fundraising event coming up on February 5th, with 2 more after that, soon after that. Going even further, we recently entered into a joint fundraising agreement with President Trump to keep the White House and one with congressional Republicans to take back the House of Representatives. We're raising funds from every avenue available to us and making every effort to continue running cost-effective operations at the state party. If there are any questions about the financials, we can get into them, but they're not much different than what the meeting was 2 months ago. And I'd be happy to go over it if you want, but it's really not much change. It's only changed for the better. Are there any questions? Any questions? I beg your pardon? Yes, indeed, to the chairman. Absolutely.
Thank you, Dave. And it's now under the chairman's report, and I'm going to make it very brief. And I was hoping that you no, there's no, we don't, because we're actually, we just reported on our finances. There's no official support. Is Stephen White still here? Oh, well. It was Stephen White's last day as a state central committee member. He has moved on. He has 2 young children, a very demanding job, and a teaching at law school at Ohio State. So in his absence, I would like to recognize Stephen White for his great contributions to the Ohio State Central Committee. And as I said previously, I hope you all felt that this was a deliberative process. We wanted to make this a very open and fair and transparent process, to give due respect to the candidates, to the county parties, to those in this room for their opinions. I respect each and every one of you, and I said to all of you, now that we've moved through this process, we have our March primary, where we make sure our president is re-elected as a nominee for Ohio, and 2020 is here upon us. We need to be unified, and we need to be united, because the alternative is we lose Ohio to the Democrats. And I know no one in this room wants to have that happen. We need to re-elect President Donald J. Trump for 4 more years. We need to re-elect our U.S. congressional delegation, and we need to support our Ohio House and Senate candidates, and we need to support, most importantly, our Supreme Court Justices Judy French and Sharon Kennedy. So let's get to work. Thank you all for the work of this body. I appreciate all of you. I hope to see you soon, and our next meeting is in May. So let's work hard. Thank you, everyone. So I have a motion to adjourn. John Lopez, Sarah Brown. There's a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are